everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Dano. I make architecture, design, and lifestyle related content. I hope that if any of y'all celebrated Thanksgiving, that y'all had a great time with your families celebrating over the holiday. For this video, I will be discussing and dissecting the differences between an interior designer and an interior decorator. To begin this discussion, let's talk about what constitutes an interior designer. So, the title of interior designer and the legal repercussions of utilizing this title will vary depending on the state that you are practicing in within the United States, as well as the country that you are practicing if you are practicing outside of the United States. There will be different governmental agencies that regulate the title and practice acts of the interior design profession. And in addition, there are certain scopes of practice and responsibilities that will apply to interior designers. For example, I reside within Texas, and here the state only regulates the use of the title registered interior designer, meaning that essentially anyone within the state of Texas can call themselves an interior designer and provide interior design related services. However, if this same person were to mislabel themselves or misuse the title of registered interior designer, someone could pursue legal litigation against them if they are not truly a registered interior designer with the state of Texas. In order to use the title of registered interior designer, the designer must receive and have certain criteria met, such as receiving at least a bachelor's degree in interior design from a CETA accredited university. So, this doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have only a bachelor's degree. If you have an associate's degree or a master's degree, it will also still work and be valid. However, it will impact the amount of work hour requirements that will be required for registering for an interior designer. So if you have an associate's degree, then it will raise the amount of work hours that are required, and if you have a master's degree, it will lower them. You will also, in addition to this, need to pay examination fees for the 3 sections of the NCIDQ, as well as passing all 3 of these sections. The NCIDQ stands for National Council for Interior Design Qualification, and it essentially just encapsulates the 3 sections that are tested throughout your education as well as your work experience and your career. So, in order to pass these, you will be able to register for your license in interior design. The first exam is called the IDFX, or also the Fundamentals exam, and it covers building systems and construction, programming and site analysis, human behavior and the design environment, as well as construction drawing and specifications. It's roughly around about 125 questions, and the only thing needed to take this exam is the education requirements that I just mentioned. The second exam is the IDPX, also called the Professional Exam, and it covers codes and standards, building systems and integration, project coordination, professional and business practices. It's roughly about 175 questions, and you also need your education for this, as well as a certain amount of work hours filled out and turned in. The third exam is called the PRAC, or the practicum, which utilizes 3 CIDQ case studies from large commercial, small commercial, and multifamily residential. And for this exam, you will also need your education, and the remaining work hour requirements need to be filled out and turned in. Once all education, work experience, and examination requirements have been met, you can finally apply for a registration with the state in order to become a licensed registered interior designer. Now, again, each state will vary depending on some requirements, so it's just essential to visit applicable websites like NCARB, which stands for National Council of Architectural Registration Boards, CETA, Council for Interior Design Accreditation, and in my case, TBAE, or the Texas Board of Architectural Examiners. If you are having trouble locating any resources, Always refer to any architectural professional practice websites, as majority of the time they will also contain jurisdictions that will pertain or apply to interior design and its scope of work or responsibility. Moreover, once licensure is obtained, you will also need to renew your license or your registration each year, as well as obtain CEUs, or continuing education units. CEUs are typically given out by companies when attending local or national conferences, Zoom webinars, or other professional events. Now let's discuss interior decorating. When most people think or hear of interior design, most of the time people will be thinking of interior decorators, which is related but not exactly the same as interior design. Some decorators may have design-related backgrounds pertaining to elements and principles of design, but decorating does not require education or examination or registration in order to provide service. Due to the lack of design-focused education and work experience, some decorators may not have a keen awareness of space, conceptualization, sketching, materiality, composition, or construction practices. Decorators typically just work with hardware, paint, artwork, lighting, and accessory selections. They may or may not deal with space planning and concepts. Codes and regulations are typically outside of their scope of work, so selections may look good but may not last over time or could possibly even harm end users. Due to these distinctions, it is pretty obvious with all the education and work experience, if you call an interior designer an interior decorator, expect to ruffle some feathers. Additionally, registered interior designers are required to use a seal that must be regulated and approved by the, at least in my case, TBAY, for stamping construction drawings and specifications. So majority of the time, we will be working in tandem with architects, owners, clients, builders, and sales representatives from a multitude of different companies in order to bring their ideal spaces to life. Depending on your needs, you may hire a decorator for smaller scale, lower budget, and accessorizing, or a designer for thoroughly curated interior environments. Regardless, designers and decorators will always be here to make your vision a reality. The impact that either of these professionals will have will be entirely dependent on your needs as the client. If you are simply looking for home staging and accessorizing and relatively small and simple changes to interiors, a decorator may be more for you. On the other hand, if you want material selections that are proven to last and that are economical, or space planning that works with circulation pathways and function, or simply furniture selections that are aesthetically pleasing and ergonomic, then an interior designer may be more bang for your buck. Of course, there will almost always be some overlap of experience and background with these two professions. For example, an interior decorator may have an artistic background, so some design principles and elements will be present in their process as well as their work. As well as interior designers may do some smaller scale projects like stagings and accessorizing. You may be asking if anyone can call themselves an interior designer, at least here in Texas. Why would you want to hire a registered interior designer over an interior decorator? As stated before, this will be depending on various factors including budget, end goal, sustainability, occupancy needs, etc. Typically, a registered interior designer, through the rigorous education and work hour experience, as well as examination, we will have a better grasp of design and how to execute a project from concept to build out in an economically sound way that may also prevent harm to end users or occupants throughout the lifespan of each project. Whereas decorators may select pieces that are expensive and cost more over time, or through ignorance harm occupants through a lack of insight into specifications of materials, fixtures, equipment, etc. Well, I think that's pretty much all that I have for this video, y'all. So if you have any questions regarding either profession, feel free to leave a comment down below and start a discussion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Ciao!